All right, so you want to be a road maintenance worker, right? Well, we're diving into the RoleCatcher guide on that today, so
Yeah, sounds good.
let's see what they have to say.
Awesome.
So it's more than just filling potholes, huh?
It is a lot more than just filling potholes. There's actually a surprising amount of technology and strategy that goes into it these days.
Really? I would have thought it was like all shovels and asphalt and stuff.
It definitely involves those things,
Yeah.
but it's changing pretty rapidly.
Interesting. And so RoleCatcher talks about how the job is about problem solving and working with your hands and making sure that the roads are safe for everyone.
It is.
Wow.
And I know you like to, have variety in your day-to-day.
Yeah.
So I think this could be a good fit for you because there's definitely a lot of variety involved.
Okay, cool. And
And
they also talk about how technology is changing the field.
they do. One of the examples that they give is using drones for inspections.
Really?
Yeah. So instead of having to manually check every inch of a bridge for cracks, for example,
Right.
you can just fly a drone over it
Oh, wow.
and it beams back high definition images. So you can pinpoint even the smallest issues.
So you're kind of like a drone pilot then.
In a way, yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. And then they also talk about self-healing materials. What is that?
So self-healing materials are this really cool development. Basically, imagine a road that could repair itself.
What? How is that even possible?
So researchers are experimenting with asphalt mixes that incorporate these self-healing properties.
Wow.
So small cracks would actually seal up before they even have a chance to turn into potholes.
That sounds super futuristic.
It does, doesn't it? But RoleCatcher says that it's something that's being actively researched and tested right now.
Wow. So maybe in the future we won't even have to worry about potholes anymore.
That's the idea.
That's amazing.
Right.
Okay, so that's pretty futuristic, but let's talk about the day-to-day reality of the job right now.
Sure.
Because RoleCatcher talks about the pros and cons as well.
Right. And, job security is definitely a big plus.
Yeah, because everybody needs roads, right?
Exactly. You can always count on roads.
Yeah, that's true. So it seems like a pretty stable job.
For sure.
And you'd be outside a lot too, right?
Yeah, a lot of the work is outdoors, so if you enjoy being outside,
Right.
that's definitely a perk.
Which I know is something that you like.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Although we'll say that RoleCatcher emphasizes the physically demanding nature of the work.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Rain or shine, you're out there.
Right.
So you have to be comfortable in all kinds of weather conditions.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about the career ladder, because RoleCatcher talks about 4 main stages of a road maintenance worker career.
They do. They start with the entry-level position,
Mm-hmm.
and they go all the way up to a senior coordination role.
Wow, okay. And it says here that nearly 60% of entry-level workers reach a supervisory position within 5 years.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
That is pretty good.
It shows that there's definitely room for growth in this field if you're willing to put in the work.
So you start at the entry level and you're kind of like an apprentice, right?
Exactly. You're learning the ropes, you're assisting more experienced workers,
Okay.
and you're just getting a feel for the different aspects of road maintenance.
So you were saying you start as an apprentice and then you move up to junior road maintenance worker.
Right, exactly.
So what are you doing at that point?
So as a junior road maintenance worker, that's when you start taking on more responsibility. You're doing more independent inspections. Maybe you're tackling repairs with less direct supervision.
Okay.
RoleCatcher really stresses building a strong portfolio of your work during this stage, which I thought was interesting.
A portfolio for road work.
I know it sounds a little strange, right?
Ah.
You don't typically think of a portfolio for this kind of job,
Right.
but it's becoming more and more important, even in these hands-on fields.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it this way. You could show a potential employer photos of a complex bridge repair that you assisted on, or you could have a detailed log of all the inspections that you've done.
Oh, so you're showing them proof that you know what you're doing? Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a visual representation of all your skills and accomplishments.
Like a resume, but with pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good idea. Okay, so then you move up to road maintenance supervisor.
Right. And at that point, the focus shifts a bit.
How so?
Well, now you're not just fixing roads anymore.
Okay.
You're leading a team, you're managing projects, and you're even dealing with budgets.
Oh, wow. So there's a whole management aspect to it.
Exactly. You go from potholes to paychecks.
I like that.
Yeah.
So at that level, are those leadership qualities that we talked about before, are those really important?
They're essential. At that point, RoleCatcher emphasizes clear communication, problem solving, being able to motivate a team. All of that becomes really crucial.
So you're kind of like the manager of the road crew.
In a way, yeah, you're making sure that everyone's working together efficiently and that the projects are completed on time and within budget.
Okay, that makes sense. And then the final stage is senior road maintenance coordinator.
Right, that's the top of the ladder.
So what do you do at that level? At that point, you're thinking big picture. You're collaborating with government agencies. You might even be consulting on new technologies to implement.
Wow. So you're not even really doing the hands-on work anymore.
Not as much at that level. It's more about strategy and planning.
Okay.
But what's interesting is that RoleCatcher stresses the importance of staying updated on industry trends and technological advancements.
Your whole career.
Yeah, they say it's not enough to just learn things at the beginning and then coast.
So you're always learning new things.
Exactly. You have to be adaptable because the field is constantly changing.
That makes sense. Speaking of technology, what about those AI tools that RoleCatcher offers?
Oh, yeah, those are really useful.
Like, what do they do exactly?
Well, one of the things they can do is analyze job descriptions with a level of detail that would take a human hours to replicate.
Okay.
And they can pinpoint those keywords that make your application stand out to recruiters.
Oh, that's really helpful because I know a lot of companies use those applicant tracking systems now.
Exactly. And those systems are basically just looking for specific keywords.
Right.
So if your resume doesn't have those keywords, it might not even get seen by a human.
That makes sense. So these AI tools help you figure out what keywords to use.
Yeah, they can analyze the job description and tell you exactly what the employer is looking for.
Wow, that's really cool. And I think I read that they can even like suggest improvements to your resume.
They can actually tailor your resume to each specific job that you apply for.
Wow, so you don't have to start from scratch every time.
Exactly. It saves you a lot of time and effort.
That's awesome. And what about this Get Discovered feature that I saw on their website?
So Get Discovered is a new feature that RoleCatcher is really excited about.
What is it?
It's basically a way for employers to find you.
Oh, so instead of you applying for jobs.
Right, you create a profile, and then employers who are actively searching for candidates with your skills can find you.
So it's kind of like a dating app, but for jobs.
Kind of, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So what kind of information do you put on your profile?
All the important stuff, your experience, your skills, your certifications.
Okay.
And you can even link your portfolio so employers can see your work.
So it's like a more comprehensive view of who you are as a candidate.
Exactly. It's not just a resume. It's everything about you in one place.
That is really cool. So we've talked about how technology is changing the field already, but what about like 5 or 10 years from now? I mean, what other advancements could we see?
It's really interesting to think about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, what if roads could tell us when they need to be repaired?
What do you mean?
Like, imagine sensors embedded in the asphalt that could detect changes in temperature or pressure or even like the structural integrity of the road.
Oh, wow.
And then those sensors could like send a message to the maintenance crews.
Really?
Yeah, so they'd know exactly when and where to go to fix a problem before it even becomes visible.
So like a small crack wouldn't have a chance to turn into a pothole because they would already know about it and be there to fix it.
Exactly. It's all about preventative maintenance.
Wow, that's amazing. That sounds like something out of a science fiction movie.
It does, doesn't it? But like we were talking about with the drones, what seems like science fiction one day can become reality pretty quickly.
That's true. What about robots? Do you think robots will ever be used for road maintenance?
It's definitely possible.
Yeah.
I mean, we already have self-driving cars.
Right.
So it's not that far-fetched to think that we could have robots that are programmed to do things like fill potholes or even repave roads.
Oh, wow. So instead of replacing human workers, maybe the robots would just do the more like dangerous or tedious tasks.
Exactly. That would free up human workers to focus on the more specialized repairs or the problem-solving aspects of the job.
That would be great. So it'd be like a collaboration between humans and robots.
Exactly.
That's really interesting. So overall, it seems like a career in road maintenance has the potential to be really rewarding.
I think so. You're providing an essential service, you're working with your hands, you're using technology, and you're constantly learning and growing.
And there's job security.
Definitely. Everyone needs roads, and that's not going to change anytime soon.
That's very true. So what are some key things our listeners should keep in mind if they're considering this career path?
First of all, I would say don't underestimate the importance of technology in this field.
Right, like those AI tools that we talked about.
Exactly. Those can really give you a leg up in your job search. And then once you're in the field, you need to be willing to adapt to new technologies and new ways of doing things.
Right, so be open to learning new things.
Yes, definitely.
And what about the portfolio? You mentioned that earlier.
Oh, yeah, that's another important one. Even though it's a hands-on field, being able to show potential employers concrete examples of your work can really make you stand out.
That's a good point. And it shows that you're taking initiative.
Exactly.
Well, this has been a really fascinating deep dive.
It has.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot.
Me too. So to wrap things up, it seems like a career in road maintenance could be a great fit for someone who enjoys working with their hands, solving problems, and who's not afraid of a little hard work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And who's excited about the future of technology?
Yes, definitely. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
And to all our listeners out there, keep those curiosity gears turning.